Hello, my name's Amanda. Welcome to my channel. Glad you're here. We're going to talk today about the School of Hard Knocks, and I'm going to share a little bit about my life, just some of the hard knock highlights, and then talk about how we can either sink or swim if we are a highly sensitive person, if we're on a spiritual awakening path, and we are going through the eye of the needle, we are going through the narrow path, we are going through the furnace or the squeeze somehow at this critical time in history. It's an exciting time to be alive, but it can be a very, very difficult time to be alive if you are highly sensitive, if you're an empath, if you are very psychically open to what's going on in the field and it's affecting your physical body and your emotional state. So, as many of you guys know, I had a near-death experience in 2017. There's a link to that in the description. But I have been a highly sensitive person my entire life. Before that, and especially even more after. My early life had a lot of visits from beings from other dimensions that no one could see that were very difficult to process, that seemed dark and scary. I was very much alone in that experience, and in my childhood, unable to feel supported with that reality going on. I was the odd one out in school often. I experienced a lot of bullying. In my teen years, I barely went to high school. I had an eating disorder for at least 8 years, chronic stomach problems that nobody could diagnose. I was very dissociated. I was in the mental health ward. I was seeing psychiatrists. I was on at least 5 different psychiatric medications, none of which helped me, but only gave me side effects. And very misunderstood and by my support system. They just didn't have the capacity to support me in the way that I needed, which I understand now, but at the time was very isolating and frightening. In my 20s and into my 30s, I was in a long-term relationship that involved a lot of physical abuse as well as psychological abuse. I take full responsibility for being part of that. That's part of my journey. And after having a near-death experience, came out being even more highly sensitive than I was before, and a lot of my early childhood experiences with dark interdimensional beings and psychic attacks started up. And so this led me on a very fast track to having to start to know myself, start to accept the school of hard knocks that had come to me in my version, and instead of shrink back, be a victim, hide from life, make excuses for myself, everything just got louder and amplified so that I would have to respond. So that's just a little bit of my story. But I know that all of you watching this wouldn't have clicked on it if you didn't have a story, if you didn't have a set of experiences, including whatever it is you're experiencing now, that is your school of hard knocks. That's your school of hard knocks. So let's jump right in. The hard knocks of life chip away the stone and facet it until it reflects the light from a million different angles. Manly P. Hall. So we all know people that the hard knocks of life have sent them deep down into addictions they couldn't pull themselves out of. The identity of being a sick person, the identity of being a victim, the identity of blaming other people, stirring up drama, just this way of being that's not empowering and definitely not part of true evolution. And we are all susceptible to falling into that way of being. I've been there many times, and I'm sure you have too. It's just a matter of recognizing it more and more over time and not wanting to stay there. There is a theory, Dabrowski's theory of positive disintegration. Positive disintegration. There are incredible men and women over the course of history that have gone through worse things than me, wars and concentration camps and just really things that you think would break apart the human spirit. And yet these people somehow come through it and have some kind of medicine to offer the world, writings, teachings, just their way of being. And the theory of positive disintegration talks about those who can take a crisis or series of crises and traumas, and they tend to have an extra sensibility, an extra excitability or oversensitivity to come out stronger and deeper with more compassion towards themselves and other people. Today, a person like this could be called an anxious person, a neurotic person, a highly sensitive person, an empath, all of these kind of things that are sometimes seen as weak, sometimes seen as overly sensitive, not taken seriously. I get it. And yet have some of the greatest potential for not only transforming themselves, but offering the medicine of transformation and hope and ability to walk through darkness to other people as they heal. Okay. And so some of the characteristics of a person like this, and maybe you can see this in your own journey, they're able to notice the difference between the way things are in the world and what is considered normal and acceptable, and the way things ought to be. People like this can kind of see into a bit of a utopian future, and I don't mean utopian as, like everything's just perfect and we don't pay any attention to anything dark, but a future where the vulnerable of society, the animals, the children, the elderly, the handicapped, those who are going through something, are the most important and fully supported, right? You get it. And that's not the way things are, but that's the way that we are willing things to be in our future for our children. And they care for others and act in accordance with their empathy, sometimes too much without boundaries. We can see ourselves in that. But they would act like this with care and generosity, whether other people are watching or not. That's what makes them different. People with this ability are not doing things for show or for attention or to be someone of value and post it all over the place for acceptance and attention and kudos. They're not waiting for kudos. They stopped waiting for kudos a long time ago. And they would act in accordance with their empathy, whether someone is watching or not, because they know ultimately that it's between them and them. It's between them and God, them and their higher self, them and the call that has gone out from a person or situation that requires empathy. Sometimes we are people that are prone to addiction. We're prone to impulsivity. We're prone to mood swings and fluctuations in our happiness and sadness that might seem more than people in the general public. We are curious about the mysteries, and we are invigorated by nature and animals. And we are able to effectively feel and internalize the vibes of other people and their situations. It's actually sometimes overwhelming to be able to feel into our environments, which causes us to sometimes have to isolate and withdraw and take care of ourselves. So some people pass through huge trauma and crisis and emerge better, emerge wiser, and more authentic than they were before. It's really important to accept as soon as possible the fact that after we go through crisis and trauma, we are not healing in order to return to how we were, the version of us before the crisis or trauma. A lot of people are on this kind of healing journey and they're looking to become just like they were before the bad things happened. But that's not evolution. We're not looking to go back to be the same, to look the same, to sound the same, to react the same. We're looking to get through the crisis, get through the trauma and the after effects, and become something that this world has never seen, bring forth creations and ideas and problem solving that this world has not yet seen, and to offer a salve, a healing medicine in just our way of being, our way of understanding, our way of showing up vulnerably and courageously. We become the medicine, our own special potion of medicine, based on what has happened to us and based on the commitment to not being a victim of that forever. There is always a period of time where we do need to go through that self-pity and that experience of being a victim, because let's face it, many times we are victims of things. So we can't pretend that that's not true. But it's a phase we need to pass through. It's a limited period of time. It could be a long time, it could be a short time. As long as we're constantly aware that it is temporary and there's so much more waiting for us on the other side. So we feel through layers of the pain. We get angry at the injustices that have been part of our experience. We feel them strongly, but we don't project them out towards other people and just recycle the pain out. We don't turn it against ourselves and feel guilty for what happened. We literally just feel the emotion without judgment over and over, as many times as it has to be processed and digested. And we keep always in our North Star where we're going and who we want to become because of it. Okay. People like us that are highly sensitive and do respond very powerfully to the School of Hard Knocks have to make a real effort to stop basing our worth and our self-esteem on our outer circumstances. We have to stop basing our self-esteem on our outer circumstances. Whether people like you or dislike you, flatter you or criticize you, we have to take a step back from all of that. It's so nice to get compliments. It's so nice to be liked, accepted, praised. But our ego feeds off that. Our ego wants more of that over time. It wants that hit. Okay. So accept the praise and receive it as a really nice gift. But keep a step back, because know that tomorrow that same person could criticize you as well and your work. And that's okay. So criticism and praise, really, we have to not get attached to. We have to not attach to those things. Our direct growth, our direct evolution into the next chapter of the type of person, the type of character that we are becoming, is not to do with numbing that pain that is here with us. It's not to do with projecting it and blaming other people for the pain. It's to do with the transmutation. This can take a lot of physical energy to feel pain and to not direct it in towards ourselves or to other people, but to really learn to understand it and be curious about it and feel the pain points. That takes a lot of energy on the physical body, on our invisible layers of our invisible bodies too, but even on the physical body, those contractions of the chest, those hits in the stomach, headaches. We all know what it's like to feel our physical body be affected by emotional pain. And so it can't be emphasized enough that self-love, as a highly sensitive person who's going through the School of Hard Knocks, we need to make provisions for ourselves. We need to be careful with how we spend our time and how much of it we just run around and socialize and give it away to everybody else. Because your physical body needs a lot of rest when you're going through these things, especially when it's like a big wave of it. You need a lot of physical rest. You need a comfortable, safe place to live. Especially if you're a woman or you are somebody who has been very vulnerable in your physical life in the past. You need to prioritize living in a safe place with safe people, or living yourself in a safe neighborhood or a safe part of the world. Because when we're constantly feeling on edge and we don't feel safe, it's very hard for our body to heal and digest and move on to the next level. You can you can stay stuck for a long time if you're not finding security and safety in your immediate environment. It's very easy to be angry at God or the universe or fate or ourselves when we are going through the school of hard knocks, or a big wave of the school of hard knocks. It's so easy to fall into resentment and bitterness and weariness. I used to work as a paramedic, and I had this patient that we would pick up all the time in the period of about 6 months. She was a terminal cancer patient who had, I don't know, cancer all through her body, but one way that she was very affected by the cancer was on her skin. She had a lot of peeling skin, wounds that were always oozing, boils. I've never, in my entire career in healthcare, I've never seen skin like this. And when we first started picking her up, because she'd call 911 if the pain got too bad, she needed to go to the hospital. When we first started to pick her up, she was and understandably so, it's good. She was a very angry person. She was very, very angry. It was hard to handle her gently without spiking pain somehow and anger towards us as medics. And over the months that passed between when we first started picking her up and when she died, about 6 months after this started, her pain didn't go away. Her pain didn't lessen. She was on all kinds of painkillers. Nothing really was touching it that well. But there was a change in her. I remember the last couple of months, I would pick her up in the ambulance and she would be crying out in pain, sometimes in anger. And then she would stop herself, and it was like her higher self kicked in. And she'd say, "Suri, this is not about you guys. This is not about you guys. I apologize." She was starting to become really aware of the pain energy that she was carrying. And then near the end, the last couple times that I picked her up, she had started to break through and connect with the other side. She was still experiencing pain. She was still communicating with us, but she had that gaze, the gaze that I've seen many times in healthcare with terminal patients, where she is transcending this physical plane, maybe for the first time in her physical life. She was connecting with something beyond. She was starting to move her awareness and her experience from a physical body only thing to a place that was beyond this physical world, even though she was still experiencing the pain. And I always keep her in my mind because she was showing me in stages what it's like when we are stepping out of the identity of victimization because of what we're going through, and we're stepping into transcending and transmuting. These are very, very difficult things to do. This is not for the faint of heart. But we have two choices. We only have two choices when it gets really tight. We can sink into victimization and addiction, or we can keep moving forward. We're not here to do things perfectly, but we are here to keep moving, to take responsibility, to feel what needs to be felt, to get the support that we need, and to keep looking ahead as the hero on the hero's journey, because we are becoming something. Our soul is becoming something by this rude awakening of pain in the school of hard knocks. Most of the people watching this are not in the end stages of cancer or a terminal illness. And if you are, all our love towards you. For the rest of us, we are looking towards the next chapter of our becoming, of who we are. Our physical and emotional pain that moves through in the School of Hard Knocks is creating a spiritual depth. It could even be turning on some kind of psychic abilities as we are starting to reach towards the mystery, the unseen and the unknown, and starting to make connections there, knowing that our connections here have limitations to them. And it's important to know that, the pain might never fully go away. The pain might never fully go away. Mystics and saints have died, and their physical body was still having physical pain. Ramana Maharshi died of a horrible cancer, and yet he developed the ability to identify his true being with a place that was beyond this physical world. Many of the saints in Christian history that were mystics, they went through some of the most ongoing, incredible, chronic health problems and physical pain. And I believe that some of them actually learned to leave their body and astral travel and connect with the celestial realms to get a break from that physical pain. Okay, so our perception changes when we start to bring in hope and acceptance that this is potentially a big part of some of our lives in the School of Hard Knocks. And we start to find water. We start to find water, and that's in the inner chambers of our heart. That's in the arms of Christ. Because Christ, more than any of us, understood pain. He understood pain. And sometimes there's not much that we can do. We want to be strong, and we want to, believe that everything's going to be fine, but sometimes we can lose hope. Sometimes we can lose hope. And if that's you, if this moment is just almost more than you can bear, I would encourage you to pray to Christ. I would encourage you to pray to Christ. Pray to one who knows this walk very, very well. Christ's home is in our heart if we are open to that. And this path of pain can really connect us to the loving power of Christ in our heart if we focus and meditate on that. Sometimes that is all we can do. Something really lovely about this process is you have the opportunity to go from trying to fix yourself and constantly improve, to knowing yourself as a beloved son or daughter of God. Yes, there's always things that we can adjust. There's always going to be ways to evolve. But taking the time to just know ourselves as we watch ourselves walk through the School of Hard Knocks and be like, wow, you are amazing. You have been through so much in this life. You have been pressed on every side, but you are not crushed and you haven't stopped. You have been through things that some people could never imagine even exist as a human experience when it comes to pain. And here you are, medicine carrier. So we continue on. We continue on as victors. Maybe not victors in the outside world. Maybe our path and our overcoming isn't obvious to other people. Maybe we're overlooked. Maybe we're misunderstood. Maybe we're quieter than most. I'm speaking to you. And I'm going to say, I see you. I know that there are many of you who are walking this very narrow path. It's not flashy. It's not dazzling. It's not sparkly all the time, but it's deep. Your water runs deep. Your medicine of tranquility, understanding, knowing is a salve, it's a balm, it's a panacea for this world's woes. You are becoming, and you already are, a rock. A big rock in the river with rushing waters that is like hurling by, trying to cause all kinds of reactions and mood swings and intense feelings. And here you are. Here you are grounded as the rock in the river. And so there are many of us that are on a narrow path. You know, there's a lot of love and light and manifestation and magical things that are going on when it comes to spirituality and teachings out there. But when it comes to depth, when it comes to the Christ path, when it comes to the transmutation of pain and the development of your etheric body, becoming an angelic human, we walk through a lot of darkness. We walk through a lot in the school of hard knocks. You become a person who knows. You experience ecstasy sometimes on special occasions, and a lot of contemplation, a lot of intensity. I think that's all for this video. Just know that if you are finding yourself in the school of hard knocks, you are recognized in the higher dimensions. You are recognized and supported, whether you can feel it or not, by your higher self. There are many people in this world that are in the school of hard knocks, that are not giving up, that are not accepting the title of victim. I just want to leave you with this dream that I had last night. I've had a recurring dream of driving down a highway that's got a lot of really sharp twists and turns. And at some of the turns, no matter how slow I was going, my car spun out of control when I tried to turn onto the curve. And I was never hurt. It was just kind of like, I've got to get this car out of the ditch and start again, kind of thing. But last night, my recurring dream was that I was driving on that same road and I hit that same curve and I spun out of control again, even though I was driving slow. And when I got out of the car to kind of like see where it had landed, there was so many other people who had also missed that curve and their cars were in the ditch, and we all started having a laugh about it. And instead of feeling like we didn't make that curve properly and we had lost control and fell in the ditch, we were discussing on how the problem was actually with the road. The problem was that there was no road signs showing that there was such a sharp, dangerous curve ahead. And the problem was the road could actually be rebuilt to have less of a sharp curve that would cause everyone to go in the ditch. The problem wasn't with us at all. The problem was with the way things were, and those ways needed to change in our environment and in our society. And the more people that are waking up, the more people that are in the school of hard knocks but refusing to be a victim, one by one we are creating a new world, a new way of being where we're saying no. The way things are in this world is very, much in the past and is not working, and is not a welcoming place for the children of tomorrow. So if you're feeling like things are intense in the School of Hard Knocks, please take that energy somehow and bring it forward in your art, in your problem solving, in your creativity, in your wise, kind words to someone else to create this new world together. Because the people that are not in the School of Hard Knocks and they're not sensitive to these things, they're not interested in creating a new world together. New problem solving, new creations, new societies. It's going to take people who are highly sensitive, people who understand pain, people who have been in the School of Hard Knocks. It's going to take their ideas. It's going to take their inspirations. It's going to take their hero's journey in overcoming to create what needs to be created. It's going to depend on people like us and our children. Thank you for watching. Please like and comment if you like this video. And as always, journey well.